hold that last tracking up again, please? Take a moment to look at that graphic and the way the artist has captured the image. As much as Cher and I love Christmas and celebrating Christmas time, I've got to tell you, we celebrate Easter even more. Why? Because Christmas is the dawning, the birth of our awareness that we are the Christ expressing as us in human form. An important awareness because that's the pivotal point, the turning point in our journey. But Easter celebrates us in that body because Easter represents, symbolizes not only our conscious awareness that we are divine beings, but that we have actually fulfilled and demonstrated that ability, that attainment. And so Easter for us is just absolutely a gazillion times brighter and more important than the initial awareness. Although that's important. Thank you, Chris. Just wanted you to see where Cher and I are coming from as your ministers in this Christmas time. And so we consult experts like our granddaughter and Ebenezer Scrooge as we deliver our messages. And one thing I don't want to fail to do, something I've just started. Sometimes life can come at you pretty fast, don't you agree? And when it does, we may wonder if there's any life left after the hustle and bustle. We all go through periods like that, and sometimes those periods become exclamation points. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
We find ourselves in experiences which can literally change our lives. How we label those experiences, though, pretty much depend on us. We can have an Ebenezer Scrooge moment or an Ebenezer snooze moment. We can start off our joy and grinch our way through the holidays and through life, as Ebenezer Scrooge did in the beginning of Dickens' novel, or we can change our perspective as he did after his midnight snooze. It is unfortunate that whenever people hear the name Ebenezer Scrooge, they think of the selfish businessman who bah humbugged his way through Christmas and through life. However, he went from a grouchy Grinch to a man who knew Christmas and knew it very well. When faced with the changes that he knew that he must make, he left his sour disposition behind and adopted a more positive outlook on life. And that's what we've got to do. When the pressures of the holidays and the demands of work and the Velcro of family relationships bring out the Ebenezer Scrooge in us, we've got to man up. We've got to woman up. We've got to Christ up. That's exactly what the following couple did. Cher and I invite you to consider this couple's extraordinary adventure, which led to an extraordinary perspective on life. They had just been through some tough times, both financially and health-wise, and here's how they handled it in their own words, and I quote, "There was a gradual giving away of old, established ideas as we steadfastly made room for a higher order of living. It wasn't a pathway of roses, we can assure you, and we struggled to keep our heads above the clouds. We had many trying tests, reversals of fortune, loss of apparent friends, and humiliations of all kinds, and even some serious health challenges. But through it all, we held unwaveringly to truth principles, and we have proved beyond a doubt that you must trust in your God connection." That was Merle Fillmore who said that, one of our co-founders. That was in 1891, the Fillmore's second official year in business, She and Charles were struggling to raise a family, deal with serious health challenges, and start what was to become a global spiritual education movement at the same time. We're glad we did, aren't we? Through it all, she said, we held unwaveringly to truth principles. There's another couple who went through something very similar. The bottom had fallen out of their business. They couldn't find enough work to make ends meet. People who they thought were their friends turned out not to be their friends at all. And that was in 1984, their second year in business. And then in September 2001, the bottom fell out again. But through it all, they held on unwaveringly to truth principles. They remained true to who they were and turned their business around when they turned their consciousness around. We know that couple very well because that couple is Cher and I. Cher and I watch both movie versions of the Dickens Christmas Carol every year. Maybe some of you do the same thing. We also watch White Christmas and Holiday Inn and It's a Wonderful Life and The Miracle on 34th Street. We don't miss a Christmas without watching those shows. Now, they are all wonderful stories to warm your heart, but when we want to be reminded of the true meaning of Christmas, we don't watch TV at all. We read the metaphysical versions of the nativity stories in both Matthew and Luke. And then we, as we mentioned last week, read chapter 1, verses 1 and 14 in the Gospel of John, when we really want to know the true meaning of Christmas. Cher and I invite you to hold on to Unity Truth Principles throughout this Christmas season, throughout 2015, and throughout, well, the rest of your lives. These are some of the truth principles that Cher and I have used and continue to use. 1, hold on unwaveringly to Unity's 5 basic truth principles, especially the 5th one, which says to apply these things. What that means is it's encouraging you not to flirt with them, not to post them on any laminated board in your house and never look at them. It means not tucking them away in your drawer someplace. It means posting them in a prominent place so that you can see them every day and use them as affirmations. Second one, do not be fooled ever by outer appearances. Current circumstances and past precedents have no power over you. You ever think about that? Current circumstances, no matter what they are, past precedents, no matter what they reveal to you, have no power over you. Your point of power is your next choice. Third, refuse to believe in the worst. Use more willpower than won't power. Always. Divinely order your experiences by affirming what you want to manifest in life. Remember, our co-founder Myrtle said, only affirm what you want to manifest. Makes a lot of sense to us. Declare it, claim it, expect it, using the technology of both denials and affirmations, as we did this morning. Then, of course, Christ up every chance you get. Remind yourself that your Christ nature is your BFF. You think about it. Just like love is your BFF, wisdom is your BFF, strength is your BFF, the 12 powers are your BFFs. And then remember that you are here to be the best Christ you can be. We all share the same purpose in this incarnation, the exact same purpose. And that's to be the best Christ we can be. Now, the expressions of that will differ, of course. But to be the best Christ you can be is your purpose for being here. That means your responsibility, 2 words, responsibility, is determined by how well you up your consciousness and stay in your Christ nature. Matthew 28:28 reports the Christ, as Jesus is saying, I am with you always, even till the end of the world. In some translations it says, even till the end of the age. But metaphysically, I am with you always simply means The omnipresence and omnipotence and omniscience and omniactivity of Spirit is always with you because you are God expressing. There is no separation between you and your God nature. It's always there. And the end of an age metaphysically means simply going from one level of consciousness or awareness to a higher level of consciousness or awareness. It's not talking about time as much as it is state of being or state of consciousness. It means growing out of the new you, old you into the new you. Now that's the significance of Scrooge waking up from his snooze. His sleep symbolizes our sleep when you think about it. Metaphysically, sleep means living your life unaware of your Christ nature. It means being totally oblivious to your Christ nature or refusing your Christ nature. It means snoozing your way through this incarnation. Scrooge was unaware that he was a divine being until he was de-Scrooged at night. One thing is for certain. Before his snooze, Scrooge didn't have a ghost of a chance at enjoying Christmas or life itself. Isn't that right, Cher?
That's right. And Scrooge really learned. He learned so much from those visitors. And you know, we're thinking that if Jesus and Scrooge could have a chat, it would be really interesting. In fact, I think that might be happening right now. So let's kind of just eavesdrop. And this is what I think Jesus would be saying. You know, Ebenezer, I get you. Because you're so misunderstood, and I know how that feels. But you got it. And you had these visitors that came. And let me